Welcome in, everybody. I am Ben Parker. This is Pro Football Enterprises, joined as usual by Austin Freed and Shane Ratliff. This is our last show before the NFL draft, and after the draft, we'll take off a couple of weeks. But I want to say again how much I appreciate the work that these guys have put in for a year now. We didn't start this way, but we have invested a ton of work into the draft all this year, into individual prospects, into watch lists, into team mocks, into larger mocks. Like it's been a lot of work. We didn't get to cover everybody because we have jobs and families and other things. But boy, the work that we did do was good work. We took our time with it. We did it serious. So I really appreciate it and appreciate all of you that came by to watch all during the year. So we've got plans ahead for next year too to keep putting out good work. So thank you all very much. Tonight, the Chicago Bears is our team. Austin will be the acting general manager for them. He'll lay out kind of a guideline here in just a minute for us. We won't do the entire 7 rounds. We'll do the first 4 or 5 picks. And we're using Mock Draft Hero Simulator tonight. There are several that I like using. This is one of them. So tonight, that's the one we will be working off of. All right, Austin, take it away. Give me and Shane some directions here.
All right. As the Bears, my number one priority is trading away Caleb Williams for a seventh round draft pick. Um, if we can get that done, I think it'll be a successful full draft.
We'll be all good.
Uh, okay. If my advisors won't allow me to do that, so I guess we'll have to actually try and improve the team here, which, as a Vikings fan, is annoying because this team's already got a lot of talent on it. But I think
Yeah.
I'm mostly looking to improve the defense here.
Okay.
Uh, Anywhere we can get better, obviously, I would love to do that. But on the line, the defensive front, and interior or on the edge, both of those, I'm looking to just basically get better against the runs. That's why I want the interior. But getting better against the pass, generally speaking, also helps out the run. Just putting yourself in better situations. Just anywhere on the defense. And then we traded away DJ Moore. Receiver isn't a big concern of mine, but getting another one wouldn't hurt. Running back in a class in a situation where Jeremiah Love would have fallen to 25, I would have taken him, but it's unlikely unless we're getting kind of low down in the rounds that I'm wanting to go running back. So that's kind of off my board. And then the offensive line, I feel okay about, but I definitely would look at guys starting in round two. Probably not round one offensive line, but to get a guy round two or later, I would be fine with. But early, looking mostly for defense with this pick.
All right, that's Austin's outtake here on the Bears. I'll let the audience see real quick. We already started the simulator here. You can get a quick glance at what transpired during the first 13 picks there, and I'm going to move it on down here. I'll should be able to get 13 in sight and still have the Bears pick. All right, so Shane, let's go to you first. We can go to any position you want here, but you can see what's right here sitting on our big board. If you want to just work off of that for the first round, that's fine too. But Shane, go ahead and give us a recommendation.
So I would say, like Austin mentioned, if you can't trade away Caleb Williams, maybe Ben Johnson retires. But since he's not going anywhere, I I feel Austin's dead on. They're going to go defensive line or edge, but I do think Ben Johnson looks like Kenyon Sadiq and goes, you have an outstanding tight end in Co. You have an outstanding tight end option here. The things that I'm sure he's thinking and would be very interested in to get. Um, you see Peter Woods up on this list. You see a lot of defenders where you can kind of play around. If you could pull up just the edge for me, Ben.
All right, done.
So, we've talked about Mesidor before. That's an age thing. Where do you look for him? Um, One of the guys I think that's risen up is Zion Young. I would be interested on where you would see him as a fit here. I think he's a little bit of a stretch at this point. If you're going for best defender, and Austin said, like, can we help with corner? Uh, Best available right there. If you just want to add to your defense, I really think Dylan Thieneman at this point, if he sits there, he's a solid pick. It gives you more options in the backfield. You can move people around. Uh, at that level, I think you have to go with him just because of what you have left over. And then, as Austin said, I think for the Bears, the later rounds are going to help them build this team. They need to have at least one star that they're going to get. And I think Tiananmen would be the one that I would pick in this top set.
All right. I really did not expect to be in this spot if I'm Chicago, 25th pick, but there's actually about three guys here that I think I would grab. And honestly, I know, Austin, they don't fit the needs that you laid out, which I actually agree with the needs that you laid out. I mean, that would be my my direction as well. But you did say defense first wherever we can catch it. So I think Thieneman or McNeil Warren, either one I would be happy with, is probably the direction I would go. Kenyon Sadiq sitting right there would be interesting if you want to go. I know he's not really that kind of true tight end anyway, but if you wanted to throw him in there as pass catcher, I just don't. I really think Thieneman or McNeil Warren would kind of help us out more. So I think probably Thieneman would be my pick as well. It wasn't where I expected, to go with this, but that's what's sitting here. So I think we're whether we go this way or not, I think we're fortunate to have some of these players to be looking at here. So Austin, about you?
Sometimes the mock draft giveth, sometimes the mock draft taketh away. Yeah, it's just a pretty easy Dylan Thieneman to me. Safety is a pretty big need for this team after some key free agent losses there. They had a lot of talent. The Bears have had a lot of talent at safety in recent years, and just replenishing that would be big for them. He is the highest defensive player on my board still. I do have Kenyon Sadiq slightly higher overall, as does this board. But as I talked about with needs earlier, I want to improve the defense. And I think while tight end nor safety are premium positions, and I don't even know what you call Sadiq, but safety and nickelback is definitely an improving position and just in terms of like the quality that we're seeing these days. So getting a good one before maybe they become super expensive might be worthy of an early round pick anyways. But yeah, it's the Ginniman. He's my highest rated defensive player. And there are plenty of good players at other positions of need later on. So yeah, it really isn't too much to this one for me.
Austin, I'm gonna go ahead and make the pick and let the computer simulate, but then I'll talk to you for a second, just thinking our way through everything. I
Hmm.
kind of sort of feel like, as I pick Thieneman here, at 57 and 60, I figure, knowing this draft the way we've studied it, I figure we can still get a defensive tackle we like and probably still a wide receiver we like. We may just be sacrificing a high-end edge, but we won't know till we look at it here. So, you get to see the board here. Here's our guys. What you thinking?
Well, I like a lot of the names that are available here.
Okay.
It's surprising to be at 57 and not. I mean, as I do, the farther you get into the draft, the more you kind of like these guys, I feel like.
Right.
But yeah, this is a pretty good group of guys. I'm interested to hear who you guys might suggest.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. All right. So Shane, we can go position group if you want, and give a recommendation to Austin. He may already see a name he likes. I don't know, but I'll give a recommendation too, and then we'll see what he's got to say. Shane.
So, I mean, out of this bunch, you already mentioned it, Austin mentioned it. There's a lot to like. I mean, if as you said, if you want to add a back early, Price I think is going to end up being picked earlier than this, just because where that number is. Jacob Rodriguez has kind of been a love one for us on the last couple of drafts because we see him higher and being able to help a team right away. One that's come up lately for us is Jennings Dunker as well. I think you wait for the offensive line and you can pick a center to try to fill in that position first. Um, the tough thing for this is that I think out of what we have, you don't have edge that pops right up into your mind right away where you go, hey, this is what we're looking for. I do there's been a lot of press lately about Dominic Orange that's right up on the top. They call him Big Citrus. He's been starting to get a lot of press for what they think he can do. As Austin said, if you can't go and get the edge right away, adding a solid and large defensive tackle that can help to disrupt, and then we can do stuff later in the draft. You know, maybe pick a late guy that's got some edge talent that might be undersized, things like that. Um, I wouldn't be wrong with Dominic Orange in this. And since we have a pick coming so soon after it, there's only so many people that can come off the draft board. So I think looking at that board with as many people on it that we like, I think this is kind of a free pick for us.
Yeah, I agree. So if I were just going to try to go D line here, I think I would be Dominic Orange. I put all the edges and tackles together. It's one of the good features that this simulator runs here. If we were going to glance over at wide receiver, I still like Brazel's big playability. I still like Ted Hurst. I still like Elijah Surratt. I still like Bryce Lance. Even where is he? Our guy Brennan Thompson, who might be available later with the speed stuff. I still like Jacoby Lane. Like, there's still quite a few guys here, so I don't feel like I've got to grab that at 57, but maybe at 60. We might think about a wide receiver. And let me do a little position group punting here. Clear this off. Well, let me just go back to the big board. You already mentioned Jacob Rodriguez. If we're just wanting a guy to add in there who's going to really continue to help with the attitude and the mindset and the tone setting, would be a fantastic guy too. So I do think I'll probably land on Dominique Orange, but man, I think there's probably 6 or 7 guys here I'd be very happy with. Austin, back to you.
Yeah, this is a good group. Can I see those edge rushers one more time?
Absolutely, coming right up.
Yeah, I think height is my highest guy on the board. Yeah, I think I like orange more than I like height. Uh, can I see just offensive linemen in general?
All right, there it is.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Jennings Dunker has been a darling of ours, but I am a big Kalen Rutledge fan. So that's definitely someone I would be considering with one of these next two picks. And then I'm trying to play the game of like who gets picked next. Do we look at
Right.
the, can we just see all the players again?
Yeah.
I mean, do we want to play the game of who might get picked before our we pick here shortly? Like, I think one of these receivers might go. I'm not necessarily a big Ted Hurst guy or a Brazel guy. I like Brazel. Yeah, Dominic Orange is probably. Can I just see the D tackles only? Who's the next best? Like, if we were to miss on him, who's?
Hmm.
Oh, see, I'm a big Daryl Jackson Jr. guy too. I have them very, very similar on my board, although they're not exactly similar players.
Right.
Um, okay, let's go with Dominic Orange.
Having picks 57 and 60 here opens up a lot of options, but it kind of makes it more complicated too, right? Because
It
instead of just
does.
picking a guy, we are trying to figure out, man, how can we get 2 here, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, two for the price of one, kind of. Pick your guy that you would take here at
Right.
60. Or here, yeah.
And who are we willing to roll the dice on exactly?
Exactly.
Okay, but Dominic Orange,
Yeah.
your
Orange is going to
call
be
is
our
going
pick
ahead.
here.
All right, let's do that. So just a reminder here of what we've done. We've hit defense, which is what we were hoping to do. We've got Thieneman at safety. We've got Dominic Orange at defensive tackle. So Shane, we're just 3 picks later. Um, we don't have to take us long, I don't think. In the meantime, Traden Stukes went and Jennings Dunker did go off the board.
Hmm.
So, Shane, based on what we've done, who would you grab now?
So I think Austin brought up the name that's going to be the interesting pick here. I think Kalen Rutledge, depending on how you want to play him and what kind of the Bears have in mind. Now, right as the season ended, the Bears had a center who they had just brought in. He had played excellent. They gave Caleb Williams protection and everything went. Then he decides that the NFL is no longer for him. I think Rutledge has a great mentality. He played at Georgia Tech that ran the ball. They did a lot of stuff that Ben Johnson does. So I think that he would be a great fit there. For me, though, I do also think that this is one where they may truly just pick a guy that's a center because they have these back to back picks. And if you look at that list that we had up for interior offensive linemen, every single one of those top centers still sits here. So you have Sam Heck if you think he's the one you go for, Connor Lew and Jake Slaughter. Logan Jones has been a personal favorite of mine. Um, I think they probably go Connor Lew here. I know, Ben, you and I have talked about him from the very beginning because you watch some other people and what he's had to go against, and he shows up on film trying to block everybody else. I think this is the one where you make a move for that, and then we try to go get something else later on. I think you go two big uglies right up front, back to back, and I think the people of Chicago would be happy with those picks.
Yeah, I agree about that, that they would be very happy. And I'll say still here, there's several guys I like. My thought is just talking out loud for just a second. Our next pick is a pick 89. I think there will still be a receiver or two kind of left over that we could grab if we wanted to, but I feel like between now and 89, a whole swath of receivers is just going to disappear. So, as long as we're okay with that, and we may be, just that may be the trade-off. Jacob Rodriguez sitting here is tempting. I know it's not necessarily a huge need for Chicago, but still, I mean, this is a good player. Y'all mentioned, sorry, Keelan Rutledge. Yeah, I would love that. Connor Lew, I've had to really hold myself back during all the mock drafts that I've done all spring and winter now, because I really do like Connor Lew, but I realize he's not the most athletic guy, but I just absolutely love him and his work. So, um, man, hitting the offensive line here, it kind of sort of seems to be here between Rutledge and Lew, myself. There could be a center sitting there at 89, probably will be, but I'll bet you at least two of the top guys will be gone, and we may just have to grab the third or fourth guy. I'm thinking offensive line here, and I'm thinking Rutledge or Lew is kind of where I'm leaning, Austin. So,
Jacob Rodriguez is my highest graded player that's on the board, and it's not particularly close. I understand that you've got Tremaine Edmonds, and he's still a fine player, and he's not super
mhm.
old. And TJ Edwards is on the team as well. But Jacob Rodriguez, is going to be a great addition to this team if we decide to take him. And then the other guy at the top of the board, Darian Price. Like I said, I'm not necessarily saying we need a running back, but if we had one of great value, I wouldn't take it. I don't know if we're at great value yet, so I'm gonna say no to Price.
Okay.
Rodriguez is still absolutely on my mind. I think I'm gonna pass on pass catcher, whether that's we go like a tight end like Claire or any of the receivers.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm down to absolutely some of the guys you're talking about are absolutely on there for me. I still think edge rusher is a need. Orange can definitely get after the passer, but having somebody who is like a true get after the quarterback type guy, and Romello Height is my highest guy on the board from that perspective. Just super great, like burst speed off the edge. So that's a guy I'm really considering.
It's a tough choice
Um,
while you're pondering. I will say Romello Height, edge is still our biggest need, I think. I
I
feel like
agree.
that's the biggest need. if we're trying to look ahead a little bit, I'm not sure Chicago wants to, but in a year or two, whenever it happens, we're going to have to pay Caleb Williams probably. So having Rodriguez cycling through on a linebacker contract and not having to pay quite so much money at linebacker would help toward that end. But edge is our biggest need right now. So
Yeah, you're right about the contract thing, and having a guy on a rookie contract at edge is nice. Um, because those edge rushers are expensive these days, I tell
very,
you
very
what.
expensive.
Um, Gosh, my grade on Rodriguez is just so much higher than it is on height.
Okay.
I feel like I have to just kind of trust my grade and take the better player. Like, not that I don't think Height's a good player, and it's funny they're teammates. Um, but like when you watch, I tell you, the reason I became so in love with Jacob Rodriguez, and I might have told this before, but I was watching Romello Height, and I knew about Rodriguez. He was absolutely someone I was going to get to eventually, but I was watching edge rushers first, and I was like, whoa, there he is again, just all the time, all the time. And when you watch the Rodriguez tape, you don't say the same about height. And I think that is the clear differentiator between the grades in these guys. It's like when you're watching height, you cannot get your eyes off Rodriguez. When you're watching Rodriguez, height like only shows up on a couple flash plays. So yeah, we're gonna go Rodriguez. He's just the better player. I know it's not the biggest need, but the player's too good to pass up here.
All right. Well, we have done one thing that we set out to do, Austin, and that is defense. We have hit it very well.
Yes.
We've hit the safety, we've hit the defensive tackle, we've hit the linebacker, and I don't care if we hit it again with the next pick, right? If that's what's sitting there. Um, so we have successfully done that, I feel like, and we don't always have to hit different levels, but we did also hit different levels too. So
Mhm.
we haven't yet hit edge, we haven't yet hit wide receiver, haven't yet hit O line. But let's take a look and see what is sitting here now. Right here is what's kind of on the big board. So Shane, back to you. What are you thinking and where do you want to go?
Well, I think Austin hit on it. Like on his board, and I think on both of our boards as well, Ben. Jacob Rodriguez always has held the position. Austin talks about how much he shows. He also is a guy you can slide in the middle and have the other athletic linebackers you do help you somewhat on the end. We can do a lot more blitz packages because Jacob Rodriguez is going to have a good feel for whatever we're going to do. But as Austin
Yeah.
took the best available, um, if you give me interior offensive line, Ben.
Yeah. Coming right up.
So,
All
like I
right.
said, that those top three right there, if you truly need a center, which I do believe the Bears do, you're going to have a great group there. Let's pull up the edge since we've continuously bypassed everybody.
We thought about it every time, but we just haven't, it hasn't been sitting there like we wanted.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that keeps on. I'll tell you a guy that I really like is Mason Rager from Wisconsin. They've had a great run lately of these outside linebacker, defensive end, kind of middle functional guys that then you get to the NFL and all of a sudden, like, why did they do this at Wisconsin? And it's because they weren't asked, they weren't allowed to do some of those things. But once they get to the pro level, he would be a guy I think that jumps up there. And there's nobody on this edge rusher that really just jumps out at me to where I think I would go there. I would go offensive line at this pick. And I think hmm, for me, I would go with Jake Slaughter. Having a bigger guy gives you the opportunity to where you can play. He's taken a beating being at Florida and still graded out extremely well. Um, he'd be a guy I think you could also build an offensive line around, gives you a real good cornerstone, and then build from there.
All right. So at the moment, I think I'm Sam Hecht first. I will say Jake Slaughter, I love his brilliance. I think he is absolutely brilliant at his position as far as football IQ, football intellect. I just like Heck better from a technical standpoint. I'm going to roll around to a couple different positions for just a second. I'm going to check out wide receiver here. And this is about what we expected here. It thins out good. We still have Thompson Lane. I do like Jacoby Lane, adding that in, but I don't know that that's our big need here. Let me look around a little bit. And you're right about edge. When we went to edge, this is what happens. So many guys that can get the quarterback, they get taken, and they're just not sitting around later to be picked. Looking through defensive tackle here. There was a name I was looking for, but I don't see it at this point, so we will not worry about it. I know we already grabbed the defensive tackle, but I was looking for one guy specifically. He might not even be up on the list. All right, that's okay. So I think I'm going to go with Sam Hecht here, but either way, I'm leaning toward interior offensive line. Back to you, Austin.
Okay. Can I see the receivers one more time?
Yeah, coming right up.
So Skylar Bell and Brandon Thompson are my two highest graded receivers. I'm trying to think scheme wise who would fit better with, well, talk about speed. They've already got speed, but we've seen what JMO can do in Detroit. And Brandon Thompson is significantly faster than Jameson Williams, and Jameson Williams is one of the fastest players in the NFL. Um, that's how game breaking speed Brandon Thompson is. But Skylar Bell also pretty quick. I like his frame a lot better though. But I'm with you guys on the center train. I think having a really good center for a young quarterback is very helpful, especially one, as Shane was saying, is as cerebral as Jake Slaughter. I think he is one of the smartest players in this draft class at any position. And being able to
Yeah.
run the Ben Johnson offense, I almost think that might even be more beneficial than Hecht, who I think has better tape in just terms of like what he does technically speaking. And I'm going to, I think, trust the brain and then our coaches to develop skill wise Slaughter into um our starting center of the future. So yeah, we'll take Slaughter.
I love that we're grabbing offensive line, period, no matter who it was. But so we did three rounds of defense. We got one more pick we're going to do tonight. We'll do pick 129 that we got from the Rams. Three defensive players here, and then we hit interior offensive line, adding on Jake Slaughter from Florida. All right, Shane, your last turn here on the Bears. Let me actually hit resume on the draft, so we're looking at the right stuff here. Be here in just a second. Right here's our pick coming up. All right, Shane, take it away.
So the name that I kept watching as the picks were going and he didn't go away, Austin mentioned it's not like you're sitting there praying for a running back. But if you've gotten a chance to watch some Jonah Coleman tape, I think this is a round where you're going, hey, if this guy's still available, unless there's something we don't know, I run up there and make this pick. I think he's a guy that's going to give you a weapon, short yardage running. I think he's played in a style that will allow you to do some different things with him as well. And like when you're looking on the board, yeah, we could go Jacoby Lane, but what do we get by taking that wide receiver over what I have left at running back? I think Coleman's the pick I make here.
All right, and I listen. I love Jacoby Lane. Y'all know I've been way high on the Lane train, probably too high, right? But I agree as far as those two players go. Between those two for Chicago here, I would take Jonah Coleman. I'm going to bounce around a little bit. Let's go back to edge once again and see if there's anything. It's just not. There's decent guys sitting here. There's just nothing here that I really want to go grab. So I'm going to let edge go here. Let
Well,
me
and I
run up.
think it also shows, Ben, none of those guys have come off the board in the last
Yes,
100 or so picks that we've had an opportunity. This is the same lineup we've seen the last three times we've talked about it.
the ones that can get the quarterback go early, and then it tends to dry up fairly quickly as far as guys that people want to run for. All right, so here's our defensive lineman. I know we've already got a defensive tackle here, right? We've already added Dominique Orange, but I do like LT Overton here at this point. Glancing through. Oh, there's the name I was looking for. Yeah, Caleb Proctor, Southeast Louisiana. He's just that far down the list. Okay, so and by the way, I haven't watched hardly any tape of Rager from Wisconsin. So if Shane wanted to grab a look at him again, that's fine too. Caleb Proctor, defensive tackle from Southeast Louisiana. When you watch him on the field, he's not huge for the position he plays, so I don't view him as a three down guy. I don't really view him as a guy that would get volume snaps. But I do like his ability to get to the quarterback from the defensive tackle position. He's got moves and he's got speed. He's got a quick first step, and he seems to have a motor and a hunger to get to the quarterback. You can even go to the LSU tape and watch him versus LSU, and he showed through big time against LSU. So if we were, my thought is since we're coming up dry on edges, it's just been going a different route. If we're looking for a guy that rotationally could come in and get pressure on the quarterback, I think Caleb Proctor from Southeast Louisiana would be the guy. It's just that he would be doing it from the defensive tackle position. So, Austin, back to you. Make our final pick for the night.
I actually am a fan of LT Overton. I understand he's this sort of tweener who is either a really unathletic edge rusher or a small, twitchy interior guy, but he can play on multiple fronts and he's produced at Alabama. And you even saw teams start to like chip and have to like really help to protect against him. And we already grabbed a guy on the interior. And I don't know how you see it. It depends on how teams see Overton, but he can play in multiple fronts, which I think is something that Ben Johnson would
Yeah,
appreciate and the
yeah,
Bears really like. So that's really high on my board. Um, can I see the receivers who are available?
yeah. I didn't even look at them this time. All right.
I like Kevin Coleman Jr. He actually would be my highest. I actually like him a good bit. I don't know if I even noticed him last time he was up there because I have similar grades on him as some of the guys I was talking about that were up last time. Not necessarily the type of player I'm wanting for this team, but definitely worth the pick. And I mean, it's a lot of speed. It's not Thompson speed, but it's a lot of speed. Mm, okay. I'm not a Coleman guy either. I know y'all both talked about Coleman. I'm just personally out on Coleman. There's just a thing I have with short running backs. This short of running backs, it's just not something I really want to risk this early in the draft. If we're talking super late draft picks, sure, but I mean, 130, 129 is still a valuable draft pick in my eyes. We're still getting someone who I believe should be able to come in and immediately help this team out at this pick. I'm not trying to take somebody who I think is a flyer, really, at this stage in the draft. So I'm between Overton and Coleman. Coleman's definitely the better player. I don't have any doubts about that. It's the more valuable position, but we need help on edge, and Overton can go out there and play edge. And gosh, no. we're gonna do what we did earlier, and we're just gonna take the better player. Like that's just the thing to do, I think, in the draft, and that's the thing that mock drafters, I feel like, don't do often enough. They get too caught up in position needs and things like that. And they just don't look at Kevin Coleman, who I have a late second round grade on here at pick 130, and be like, oh, well, maybe I should just take that guy. No, let's just take that guy.
Let's do it. And that's going to be our last pick of the night. Then I'll get a quick thought here from both of you as we look at our picks here. Give me 1 second. Computer catching up. All right, so we hit defense on our first 3 picks. Dylan Thineman at safety, defensive tackle Dominic Orange, linebacker Jacob Rodriguez, and then we switched over to offense, not purposely, it's just the way it worked out. Interior offensive lineman Jake Slaughter and wide receiver Kevin Coleman. So what we weren't able to do basically was get an edge, but again, sometimes the drafts just work out that way. For a lot of teams and most years, it doesn't work out perfect. So we hit a lot of our stuff, and that was basically the only thing that we didn't really hit was our edge. So, Shane, your favorite pick on here, and then we'll kick Austin.
Well, I think the key thing, I don't have a problem with any of the picks, so that's a plus side. I think when you look at the end of the draft, the other key point is, like Austin said, I don't think you can question even the ones where we went away from maybe a team need. When you pick you're gonna make your team better. When you pick Rodriguez, you got great linebackers. Well, we all know you're one injury away from being decimated on defense. So having one more talented player just helps you out on that. For me, I think the Jake Slaughter pick at that far, I think there's going to be a run on offensive linemen, and I think people are going to reach on centers this year. I think getting him at that spot is a good pickup.
And for me, real quick before I kick it to Austin, I love that we got Dylan Thineman. And listen, people say, well, that couldn't happen. You get the draft night, you never know how teams are going to think, right? They think for themselves. They don't think based on mock drafts or media thoughts or, you know, they think for themselves. So you just never know how it's going to shake out. So I'm glad we got Thineman here. Austin, back to you. Final thought, man.
Yeah, I think this turned out really well. Obviously, I think the biggest position of need wasn't addressed, and that's something that when I do the next mock draft, maybe I'll try and address that first round and see how this turns out. This is why you do multiple mock
Right.
drafts, but the team's gotten better from this draft. I think you have an instant, like day one game changer in Dylan Thieneman on the defense. You have your middle linebacker, hopefully for the next 10 years, in Jacob Rodriguez that's been added. Dominique Orange is going to come in and make an immediate impact as well on the front. And then you got some depth pieces on your offensive line. Jake Slaughter is going to compete for the starting center job and
He may
maybe
start.
win it.
Right.
And Kevin Coleman Jr. is going to start off probably as your wide receiver 4 and probably fight his way to wide receiver 3 by November. So yeah, I think this team is scary. They've already been so good last year, and they've improved here. Again, I would have loved to address edge, but I can't go back and say I would have picked any of the guys over who I did because we didn't in the first place.
Right. Sitting at 25, the really truly coveted edges are gone. So we're already looking at a second tier or even a third tier, depending on
Third
how
tier,
you want to break
probably,
it
yeah.
down. And with Cinnamon sitting there, it's like, well, do I want the sixth best edge rusher or do I want the best safety? Right.
Hmm.
So, we opted for best player available right there. So I don't know that I wouldn't have redone it. So all right, everybody, thank you so much. If you're a Bears fan, which is probably why you dropped by to watch it, I hope you enjoy the draft. If you had different thoughts, if there was a player there that we passed on, you're like, hey, I would have taken this other player, drop it in the comments. We want intelligent conversation. So feel free to carry on the conversation there. Have a great one. This is Pro Football Enterprises. We'll see you next time. Bye.